Why did Christopher Columbus sail across the Atlantic Ocean? And how does that fit with the European explorations and colonization that followed? You can find the basic answers in the old children's poem in 1492. In 1492, Columbus sailed the ocean blue. He had 3 ships and left from Spain. He sailed through sunshine, wind, and rain. October 12, their dream came true. You never saw a happier crew. Indians, Indians, Columbus cried. His heart was filled with joyful pride. But India the land was not. It was the Bahamas, and it was hot. Columbus sailed on to find some gold, to bring back home, as he'd been told. So this poem describes the search for a new trade route to India, and not finding that, the search for gold to enrich the Kingdom of Spain. National Geographic's online article, Motivations for Colonization, does a good job of summarizing the motives of the different European countries. Europeans had become accustomed to the goods from Asia, such as silk, spices, and pottery, that had for centuries traveled the Silk Road. By the middle of the 16th century, the rise in power of the Ottoman Turks and the decline of the Mongol Empire disrupted traditional trade routes. At the same time, there were a number of improvements in shipbuilding and navigation, which opened the possibility of securing better trade with Asia by way of new routes by sea. Christopher Columbus was among the first who sought a route to Asia by sailing west from Europe rather than east. Columbus in his voyage sought fame and fortune, as did his Spanish sponsors. Spanish conquistadors had better success in South America, where they conquered the Aztec and Inca empires. Spain soon grew rich from ample deposits of gold and silver in Mexico, Central America, and South America. Spain also sought to spread Christianity. Missions were founded anywhere the Spaniards had influence. Some of today's largest cities in the southwestern United States began hundreds of years ago as missions. Meanwhile, France focused on establishing trading posts to supply Europe with a seemingly never-ending demand for furs. To this end, France fostered good relationships with Native Americans and built on mutual benefits of the trade of beaver furs for French goods. Dutch traders also formed powerful alliances with Native Americans based on the trade of beaver pelts and furs. Of all European countries, England established the firmest foothold in North America, motivated in part by the lure of both riches and the imaginary Northwest Passage to China. In 1606, the Virginia Company of London settled the colony of Jamestown. After tobacco was introduced in 1612, Virginia quickly grew into a sprawling colony with huge farms and enormous plantations. The settlement of English colonies was also motivated by religion. In 1620, a group of settlers left Plymouth, England, seeking to live and worship in accordance with their beliefs. Britain encouraged these settlements, as the colonies engaged in fishing, lumber, and shipbuilding. Farther south, colonies provided tobacco, rice, and indigo. For almost 200 years, until the colonies fought and won their independence, England benefited financially from the relationship with its North American colonies. This information does not include the effects on the native populations, which is the source of today's biggest argument against colonization. But I believe it's important to understand why the different European countries behaved so differently. For example, most, if not all, of Spain's wealth was taken by force from existing civilizations, or extracted from the ground, using the slave labor of native peoples who were literally worked to death in the mines. In contrast, in North America, it was easier to trade with native peoples for the goods wanted by Europeans. Or, at worst, build settlements where the natives were expected to get out of the way and not cause trouble. Of course, the fighting came eventually, but at least the desire for furs and farmland meant the fighting escalated gradually, not in immediate and open warfare and slavery. I'm not sure that's comforting to the descendants of those who survived. Even if we acknowledge that all living things compete for resources, we can at least choose to treat other people with humanity and dignity. Then maybe, just maybe, the shooting won't get started. Thank you for watching. Please like this video, subscribe to this channel for new videos every week or two, and see the description below for a list of online articles and films featured in this video.